What's up, everybody? This is that guy Chris 252 Sportscast Podcast. Tonight, I will have a very special guest join shortly. But in the meantime, I want to say a few things, do a few things before we get going and get started. I'll wait till some of you guys hop on before I get to the meat of it. I got a few things going on at the same time, so yeah. So tonight I have a special guest. Well, he'll be hopping on here in about 15-20 minutes. But in the meantime, I want to go ahead and share the winner of the Vladimir Kolov sharing contest. Unfortunately, I accidentally deleted the video that I did the drawing on, but thankfully I did write down the winner and how many names were on it. There were 14 names in the drawing, and I put all the names in one of those auto generators online. And that's how I picked the winner, because I didn't want to do it the old-fashioned way because it's time-consuming. So I just ended up doing the auto generator, and the winner of the Vladimir Kolov giveaway is none other than Mike Britt. He has won a Vladimir Kolov t-shirt and a signed picture. So I'll get with you later, Mike, and get it to you. So get with me a little later on, and we'll get with you. Sorry, I just ate supper and it's gagging me in the throat. I cooked it, so that's on me. But no, before my guest gets on here, I wanna give a few thoughts on wrestling here lately, and that is the supposed Wednesday night war between NXT and AEW. I'm not one for going on the company mark versus company mark thing. I'm not one for that. That's not how I roll. I like both AEW and NXT. I like both AEW and WWE. I like all wrestling in general, not just one company. So I'm not really going to get into that because that's not what this podcast is about. But until my guest gets on, I will say a few more things on the subject at hand that I'm brought up. And hold on. There we go. That is AEW and NXT. Past month or so, it's been in a quote unquote war. Well, to me, both shows are phenomenal. They are cooking on all cylinders, and they just produce great wrestling week in and week out. I will say this: Fight for the Fallen was the bomb. It was amazing. And yes, it was better than NXT this week, but NXT was good. But to me, NXT Great American Bash, both nights, beat, not just in the so-called ratings war, but to me, in quality-wise, it beat Fyter Fest both nights. And I'm just glad that we got options in wrestling now and not just one company, WWE, and NXT and AEW is what mainstream wrestling should be for all of us, the fans. They care. I'm not going to say they don't care about Raw, SmackDown, and other stuff like that, but they truly care about NXT and they truly care about AEW because they churn out great matches each and every week. You got Keith Lee being the North American champion and NXT champion. You got the women's division in NXT is just phenomenal. And sorry, my laptop keeps sliding off. my little makeshift desk here, so sorry about that. On the AEW side, you got the best, and I am going to go on record and say right now, the best tag team division in professional wrestling today. And that's bar none. They have the best tag team division in not just mainstream wrestling, but wrestling in general today. They got FTR, Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page. You got the Butcher and the Blade. You just got tons of amazing talent. And to me, that's one thing AEW far surpasses. Not just it far surpasses not just WWE but NXT, and that's the tag team division. One area where NXT and WWE overall, in my view, succeeds over AEW is the women's division. AEW's women's division, it's not bad at all, but it's just that the quality and the meaning behind NXT, WWE's women's division, it has more oomph, so to speak, than AEW's women's division. And it's not for the lack of talent on AEW's roster or anything like that, or any excuse you want to come up with. It's just that it is what it is. AEW far superior in the tag team division, and WWE NXT is far superior in the women's division. Everything else, it's a toss-up in my view. The mid-card division, from the Intercontinental Championship to the U.S. Championship to the Cruiserweight Championship to the North America Championship to the TNT Championship in AEW, it's all a wash in my view. The mid-card, undercard for AEW and WWE are just top-notch, and it's a wash. They're both equally amazing. The main event thing, the main event scene, the argument could go either way, but to me, the main event scene in NXT far surpasses Raw and SmackDown, and it surpasses, not far surpasses, but it surpasses AEW's main event scene in my view. But my rankings for weekly TV shows goes NXT, AEW, SmackDown, and Raw. That's just my rankings as far as overall quality of the show, all of the quality of week in and week out of the shows. And it's good to be a wrestling fan, not just mainstream wrestling wise. Instead of the analyzation of it right then and there, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what got me into professional wrestling. I'm like I said, I'm waiting for my buddy Will to get on, and I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of stalling, but I want to give you an in-depth look of me as a fan before I bring our guest in when he's ready. I started watching wrestling in 1988 when I was going on 4 years old. A neat little tidbit here is when WrestleMania turns a year older, I turned the same age. WrestleMania 36 was this year. I'll be 36 in September, so it's really cool. That's a neat little factoid that I like. It's interesting, and it's really cool and just to me, it's kind of cool. I grew up watching WWF, AWA, NWA. Started watching it with my late grandmother and my late uncle. They got me into professional wrestling as a fan. And I used to stay at my grandmother's on the weekends and watch wrestling on channels I didn't get because we just got that basic crap, basic cable. So we didn't really get any good channels for wrestling. So I went to her house on the weekend to watch wrestling that I couldn't watch and I watched WCW, WWF, and all that on my TV or at home because I had those channels. Yeah, I I grew up during a time when wrestling was going from um, a stalish part in the cycle of wrestling, heading into a new genre, which was the golden era slash 19 early 90s new generation, that kind of stuff. It was transitioning from staleness into what eventually became the Attitude Era. And I'm a fan of the Attitude Era, don't get me wrong. And this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but this is just my opinion. It's not fact, it's just my opinion. While the Attitude Era was amazing entertainment wise and put a lot of people on the map, put wrestling on the map, mainstream wrestling on the map, made it cool to talk at the water cooler, so to speak. To me, Attitude Era was slightly overrated because it put a lot of wrestling fans in a spoiled nature to where any kind of wrestling that doesn't live up to the Attitude Era just isn't good wrestling. And to me, I don't agree with that sentiment because wrestling today, there's a lot of good quality stuff going on today. Introduction of characters, building up characters, matches. And I'm not just talking about WWE here. I'm talking about AEW, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, indies all over the country, like the Gulf Coast wrestling that I've been going to a lot of shows and here lately, and just wrestling in general. There's a lot of good quality stuff going on, and of course, there's bad in professional wrestling, and there's no need to mince that. But me personally, I try to look at the positives and I focus on what I like instead of just constantly critiquing it. And that's where, to me, the internet has kind of hurt wrestling in a way. We've become more cynical, more analytical than just to watch to enjoy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that stuff is wrong. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying that's not how you're supposed to be as a fan. I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. Don't misquote me. Don't take me the wrong way. But instead of just enjoying the product, how about kind of ease up off that so you can enjoy the product? I kind of refrain from spoilers. I'm not going to lie. I used to love watching or reading spoilers because it would let me know if I want to watch the show or not, or so forth and so on. But I'd say within the past 6-7 years, I have gone away from wanting to know the spoilers to not really caring about the spoilers. I just want to watch it and see if and be a fan again, be that little kid again. And there was a phase, I'm not going to lie, there was a phase I was over cynical. There that I was just pessimistic and this is crap, that is crap, blah 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 blah. I was in that phase, but I got out of that phase because I know that those men and women in wrestling, they go all out for us. They go all out and put their bodies on the line for us, for our entertainment. And things may not be perfect in matches. There could be botches, stuff like that. Storyline wise, things may not be that great, blah, 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 blah. But overall, wrestling in general, it serves a purpose. And the purpose is to entertain us, to get our minds off of what's going on in the world today. And I give credit to every wrestling promotion for that. And on the flip side, there is a dark side to professional wrestling, as everybody knows what has been happening. And to me, it's sad. It really is. And and everything should be outed, and everything should be held accountable. Everyone should be held accountable for the current negative scandal that's going on in professional wrestling today. I'm not going to shed light on it because it's been said and done. But I will say one thing on it, and that is get it out and open. Hold who's responsible accountable and move forward. Because the only way to get over it is to get it out and open, handle it, and move forward. Don't drag foot, don't harp, don't whatever the case may be, because in the end that's just going to hurt wrestling more, and it'll cast doubt on people who does wrestling the right way on and off TV, backstage, whatever the case may be. It's kind of like baseball to me. In those who have done like steroids and stuff like that, they can cloud the aura and cloud the judgment of the ones who has played clean, especially in the Hall of Fame caliber type players. The era of steroids casted doubt on some of them, and unfortunately, that's the same thing with wrestling and the scandals that go through wrestling. Back then, the steroid scandal and the current scandal that's going on now. So, like I said, hold people accountable to whom are guilty, but also defend the ones who are not guilty and that their careers could be potentially halted or hurt because of a lie. Got to protect them as well, and not just fully go on what the scandal says and believe it all. You know what I mean? But like I said, I don't want to dive too much into that because it's not something I like to talk about, and it's just it puts a black eye on professional wrestling, and I'm not denying it exists. It has happened. It exists, but I just rather go through it, handle it, take care of it, and be done with it. So everybody can move forward. So everybody can get back to what we love, and that's watching professional wrestling. I also want to take this moment to give my love, shout out, and prayers to the Armstrong family, the James family. They lost their matriarch not too long ago, Miss Gail Armstrong, Road Dog's dad, Mr. Bullet Bob Armstrong's wife, mother of some awesome boys. I want to send out my love to the family, Brian, Bullet, Steve, Scott, Tracy, and everybody in the family. My heart goes out to you. Love you guys. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Love you guys. And I send you my love, condolences, prayers. And it's not easy. Just keep your head up as you navigate in life going forward, and just stay positive and enjoy the memories. That's the main thing. Enjoying the memories. Don't let the memories escape. Just enjoy the memories. That's the main goal. That's what life is about. Good memories, loving one another, loving, getting close, tight knit, that kind of stuff. Death is part of life, and we have to go through it one way or another. We have to go through it, and that's just how it's going to be, and how it is, unfortunately. My guest will be here soon. I just got a message. Will be on soon. I'll tell you a little bit of backstory about him. I just recently met him, but in a small world type sense, we have a lot of people we know in common, and we instantly became friends because of the things we have in common, mutual friends and stuff like that. I went to APW Pro Wrestling this past Saturday. Amazing show. Tiny Tiswell and the crew put on an amazing show. I'm going to touch upon that here a little bit later in the show once our guest gets here. And because he was there too. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I do want to say this APW Pro Wrestling, Pensacola, Florida at the fairgrounds. It was a phenomenal show. It keeps getting better and better and better and better each month. And the guys in the back and the girls in the back, they really put forth their best efforts and their best foot forward to putting on a heck of a show for us all. And this past Saturday is no different. And I'll give you my thoughts a little bit later once my guest gets here. But I will say this: August 15th, it will be at the Pensacola Fairgrounds at the White Entrance Building. Doors open up at 6. The show starts 7-ish, 7:30-ish, depends. And all tickets are $5. And it's going to be an amazing show. After what happened last show, you do not want to miss it. The last show, I will say a few things before I go in depth on my thoughts on the show with my guest once he pops on. There is a new APW United States champion in Hannibal Jackson. That's my bro. That's my dog right there. He's my bro. We became instant friends the moment I met him last year in APW, and that man is just an amazing person. Not just an amazing person, but an amazing talent. He's striving to perfect his craft, and he's just a really good wrestler, really good guy. He fought Van Vicious, who is another awesome guy, and that was a top-notch match. And there is a new APW Women's Champion in Miss Skylar. And then there is a new APW World Heavyweight Champion, and that is Perfection Sean Black. I will give you my thoughts on that a little later, because my guest he'll be on soon. Sorry if I'm boring you, but yeah, it was just an awesome show. The ending of the show, that's what I'm gonna touch upon once my guest gets on. And we're going to talk about AEW. We're going to talk about WWE, NXT. We're going to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is not necessarily my area of expertise because I'm more of a new fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, my guest, he's a huge fan and has experience in it. So I'll let him do the talking on that. And we're going to have a lot of discussion on that. We're going to have a lot of discussion on just wrestling in general. We're going to talk about his career. He's been retired since 2011, but he's had a good wrestling career himself, and I'll let him do the talking on that. And as for last night, I do want to mention this. Last night on AEW, Chris Jericho, he constantly reinvents himself. And that's why, to me, Chris Jericho will go down as one of, if not the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Because he keeps reinventing himself. He keeps staying fresh. He keeps turning out great material character-wise, great material in the ring. He's got it. He's got the in-ring ability. He's got the microphone ability. He's got the likability, the dislikability. He's got it all. And I am a huge Chris Jericho fan. Not just as a wrestler, but as a human, as a person, because I've read stories and I've heard stories of him helping people out when he didn't have to. And that, my friends, is just incredible to me, and stuff like that. I'm fixing to bring my guest up here shortly. He's getting ready, I believe. So we'll get going here in just a few moments. Sorry if I'm boring you. That's just yeah. I'm typing on my phone right now. Hold on. Okay, here we go. And I just shared it on my page. There we go. And but yeah, back to what I was going to say. Jericho, he's just an amazing human being. He's just an awesome person, and he's just all in all just a great guy. I never met him. I'd love to meet him. I'd love to do something with him in the future, if that's ever possible. But I am a huge and forever will be a fan of Chris Jericho. He's just that kind of guy, and yeah. So excuse me. Sorry, I just got a message. But yeah, anywho, just waiting here. Sorry for stalling, but I'm just waiting for my guest to pop up. Got a few things going on. So yeah. Just give me a few minutes and we'll get this party started. We'll get this party started. Sorry, I'm not going to do karaoke right now. One second. Just doing some messaging for another brother of mine. Just give me a second. Yay, my guest is ready. Sorry for the delay. Here we go. My guest is fixing to pop in just a second. Yeah, he's clicking on the thing. Every time started looking now. Okay, I'm not going to do karaoke. Sorry, I'm horrible. I shouldn't do that. Coming to you now. Where's my mouse? I have to find my mouse. Yeah, I don't like using the thingy. What is up, my brother?
What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I've been stalling.
Sorry to make you wait.
No worries, bro. No worries. It's all about having a good time. I was just giving them a little backstory on how I became a fan and stuff like that. But uh, you're what the show is all about tonight, and we'll touch upon a lot of topics. And yeah, so before we get started and get going, just introduce yourself to everybody, and we'll get this party started.
I'm Will Davis. I wrestled for near 13 years as Nero 13 and various promotions around the southern United States. Sorry, I'm a little bit focused on the drive here. It's
Yeah, focus on the driving.
I mean, I put in the time, put in the work. I'm like I was telling you when we met that I'm thinking about trying to get back in. So it's a fun ride.
Heck yeah, and I fully support that. And as we got to talking the past week or so since the show Saturday night, like I said, I believe you got a lot in the tank, just like you believe, and we'll see what we can do and get you hooked up and stuff like that.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it for real. Like my last match was right around the time my daughter was born, and I miss it more than I probably should. My body's wrecked, but
hey, you time. What's the old saying goes? Time heals all wounds. Blah blah blah. yeah, yeah. We'll just. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Hey, I got something cool. You might see this face name from the past. My cousin Lisa. She said she knows you from elementary school.
Oh, that's your cousin. Oh, yeah.
Small world just keeps smaller.
Lisa was actually at that's kind of how Lisa was at the first live show that I ever went to go see, and I mean we were already friends, and that's long time, long time.
Yeah, the world keeps getting smaller and keeps shrinking.
I'd say she's definitely gotten an earful about like all the aches, pains, and
hey, you're on there. If you're on there, Lisa, you're hearing it now.
Hey, I'm still alive, and I never had any major injuries. You know, I knock on some wood, but I'm in a car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I have my lap tap on, a piece of wood, so not.
I mean, that's what I was like, for the years that I did, especially like I told you, doing, really, really stupid things that I'm thankful for the health that I do have left. That's small world.
Yeah, that is cool. I can attest, and Lisa can tell you this. I've done some stupid stuff. Like I told you at the show, we used to live in Beulah too. It was on it was on Woods Road down there by Sasser Lane. There was like this ditch. Well, this dumb, I'm not going to say anything, but this dumb butt decided to put a ramp over that concrete thing on that ditch. And this dummy would jump any ramp on a bicycle, and this dummy, you can just imagine what happened.
Was his name Nick?
Yeah, me. I did stupid stuff.
I mean, you being back there, I live literally the other side of the four-way stop. I used to, my friends, we would take our bikes down there to, we called it the gorge, kind of back.
Yes.
The woods back there.
I remember the gorge. We used to take the bikes. I rode a dirt bike. That's why I don't do motorcycles or dirt bikes because, will not go there, but I won't do that no more.
Yeah, I mean that's us Beulah boys. We're stubborn.
Yes, we are. See, you could take the. I no longer live in Beulah, but you could take the Beulah out. You could take the boy out of Beulah, but you can't take the Beulah out of the boy.
I mean that's me and my friends. We how we got started was like me and my friends we basically stole from a I say stole, I very liberally use the word stole. There was
Borrowed with the intentions of.
well, I mean, there was a construction site that had kind of been for like half a year. We didn't know what it was, but there was a bunch of like lumber and stuff out there, and so we went and we confiscated what we could or what we felt that we needed, and we built a wrestling ring in my cousin's backyard. And
Cool.
that was when we were 11-ish, and we kind of self-taught ourselves from there. Like we sort of branched out. Like I got in with like the NOIs and some of the other like local wrestling just people here, and took in what knowledge and information that I could without actually getting into a ring with them. And then I just kind of went out and I hate to say like faked it till I made it, but
Hey, got to start somewhere. And some of the best wrestlers in recent memory, and even back in our years growing up, they started out the same way.
yeah, I mean we didn't have the full concept or understanding of bouncy boards and shit, so we were
And how
we
much padding?
huh
How much padding did you use?
uh the fuck was padding? Oh, sorry. What is?
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
What's padding?
Yeah,
we I mean, I've been in some stiff rings, man. Like there's some where like someone your size, like I've seen someone get slammed and not move a single board. Like that's
Ow.
yeah. There's I've been in some really, really, really bad rings.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I actually here's a funny fact. I actually got trained in the early 2000s. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't hack it, but I got trained in the early 2000s by Bobby Doll, and let's just say I'm better behind a microphone than I am in the ring.
Like I've had my moments on the mic, but I'm more of a behind the scenes, like you know, as far as like you know stories. I'm better in the ring, just again with telling like the story in the ropes. But most of the characters that I've ever like, most of the gimmicks, if you want to call it that, was cringy goth, cringy vampire. I had a weird Jekyll and Hyde type thing that I did in Georgia for a little bit, and
Ooh,
it
energy.
most of the time I either had someone talking for me or I just didn't talk unless it was like Undertaker like kind of things. Like I was the goth without the zombie part, I guess. It's the easiest way to put that.
Oh, that ain't bad. Yeah, for some reason back then I didn't necessarily have the confidence that I do now, but from what I was told back then that I had the potential to be an awesome mic worker. I just had to get the confidence booster, and that didn't come till like now. But they said I had that gift somewhere deep in me. I just had to tap into it and get my confidence back. And in the ring, they let me down gently. That I just couldn't hack it.
Now, see, that's one of those things that I've always kind of hated about a lot of the wrestling schools, which is why, like I told you, one of my big goals is to, like, I do want to start a school because I've seen guys that are like really, really passionate about the business and would love nothing more than to like be able to get in. And they pay the like 2,500 or however much most of these like guys are charging, and get told to basically, oh, thanks for the money, now get out of my gym. And it's just so disheartening because it's like maybe you could have been a referee, maybe you could have been like you say, like a mouthpiece. And I really don't feel that it's like, no, wrestling is not for everybody to get in and do, but I really feel like if someone's got the passion, they can work on it and maybe get themselves there versus like just because you don't have it right now doesn't mean that you can't get there. Because I
Yeah.
know that when I first started, like my drop kicks were atrocious when I
Greener than goose crap.
and man, no, me green was terrible. Like there were plenty of times where I thought that maybe I was like, like I said, I mean, like I had an idea, I knew what I was doing, but I was always second guessing myself. I
Yeah,
was always
that was
sure
me.
is like, oh, I'm gonna throw a drop kick and I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna put too much power into it, and I'm legit gonna break this dude's face. Or I was always afraid that I'm like, I'm gonna take a super kick, I'm not get my hand up in time, and I'm just going to eat this dude's foot. And sure enough, that's usually what happens. And so like I just, when I was starting, and I like I've told everyone, like, it sucks. Like when you're trying to like get in, make a name for yourself, and it sucks because this is it's a cutthroat business. It really is. And if you develop a reputation for being a bad worker, then you're not going to get booked. You're not going to find work. So you really got to put in the work before you get in.
Yeah, that's the main thing there. You gotta, in any aspect in wrestling, not just in wrestling, but life in general, you have to put in the work to see the dividends being paid, because it's just not going to happen at the snap of a finger.
Like my first match, I was too, and a lot more confident in myself than what I should.
Hey, keep on talking, bro. It's on my end. Uh, like I said, my Wi-Fi is messed up. Just keep on, and I'll be right back.
All right. I mean, I don't know if everyone can still see and hear me. I might get disconnected here in a second.
Here we go. I told you my Wi-Fi was going to kick me off. I got the wrong Ethernet cord. I got the wrong size. I got a Cat 5. I was supposed to get a Cat 3, but it is what it is.
Well, welcome back to your show.
But like I said, I'm getting better with this. I plan on doing some improvements, getting more equipment. I just gotta. It'll come in time.
But yeah, like you were saying, you just got to put in the work, and even with running, podcast streams and stuff like that, you just got to make sure that you're everything's working out.
Exactly. But now that you're safely not on the road, I do want to get in with the first main question that I want to get with you, and that is this past Saturday we saw APW the ending to the show. To me, that was so old school. What was your take on that?
I think I lost you.
Yeah, it might be on your end. Here, don't leave. Let me leave. I'll come back. Okay, here we go. I'm back. Sorry, guys.
All right. So I think I lost it there for a second too.
Yeah, it's all good. Like I said, we'll get better. We'll do a live eventually. I just wanted to. This will be the first one of many with you, and I just want to use this as more of a like a introduction because I want to pick your brain some more, and I got a lot of awesome stuff. If I'll talk to you off the stream about it, but I got awesome ideas to have this be like a series, and this just be the introduction.
All right. So you were saying about this past Saturday before. I think I heard you say the ending, and then I think I lost it, and then I guess you.
Yeah, the ending to me, it was an awesome old school wrestling NWA era type ending. I want your thoughts on it first.
You're talking about the champion swap heel turn after a brutal match.
Yes,
That was old school. That was done, and the way that it was just unpredictable enough that it genuinely caught me a little bit by surprise. Like when it was starting, I kind of felt like they would plant the seeds for it, not pull the trigger on it. But when it happened, I was.
marking out.
I mean, like, it's one of those things. As a wrestler, I am a fan first and foremost before as a worker, and that's the kind of stuff. I mean, like I said, I had my daughter and one of my friends' kids, and that was their first show, and I think that was probably the best way to really get them into it, to really show them that there's more to be had than the same wash, rinse, repeat stuff they get on TV every Monday and Friday.
I'm with you on that 100%. My favorite part about that is, like I was telling you before, uh, you got on. I told you that I started going back to. Well, I didn't tell you this part, but I started going back to APW back in March of last year. Road Dogg was on that episode, or I mean at that show, not episode, but anyway, Road Dogg was there, and he did Chris Black sucks. Chris Black sucks, and I was the biggest anti Chris Black anti fan, whatever you want to call it. But September of last year, 19, it was hold on, damn bacon. It was Chris Black against Sean Black, and he did a quote unquote passing the torch match and promo to Sean Black. This was after Chris and Sean split, and Sean turned face for a while, and Chris Black did a passing the torch type of promo, and since then I have turned heel for Chris Black, so to speak. And what I was telling you earlier in the messages was when I turned completely heel for Chris Black, it was like you brought your daughter and her friend uh, uh, at the show. That kids are my heart, and I love getting them involved in the show, invested in the show. And when I turned heel for Chris Black, I had them wanting to hated my guts and stuff like that. And it was I can't remember exactly which show, but it was before COVID happened. I did a Chris Black's awesome, Chris Black's awesome, and me and these kids were just going at it back and forth. They were saying Chris Black sucks. I was saying Chris Black's awesome, and they were hating my guts. But I loved that. It got them invested. It got Sean Black more over. It got Soldier more over. It got other faces more over. And that's what to me wrestling is all about. It's about the fans. It's about you guys doing what y'all do. And to me, my heart goes out to the kids. And if they're invested in it, it's just makes it that much better.
It really is, and that's one of those things. Like I've always said that even though like wrestling can get rather adult, it really is like it first and foremost it is entertainment, and I've always like maintained the show is for the kids because most of your adults are in on the fact that it is a work, that it is choreographed. We're helping each other out so much more than what we try to show. And to kids it's that's two superhumans in there doing amazingly impossible things. And just
Yes.
that's as long as the illusion is real for them, and they're coming up to you in between matches, after matches, talking about you're a superhero, it feels great. And when yeah, like when I first started, when I started out, I was just Nero. I didn't have 13 in my name yet. That came a couple years after. And my little taunt that I did was so dumb. I would use my hands to make an N. And when I started like coming out and like there's these little kids at ringside just making the N, and it's just like that's I'm green as hell, but at least they did. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Uh yeah, the next subject is this is your area, so I'm gonna let you have the floor completely on this one because I told you I was a new fan. Uh from then to now, walk everybody through New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm a new fan of it. I didn't watch it back then. I've only been watching it in the past, I'd say 2 or 3 years, so I'm not really knowledgeable on it. So that's your expertise. So, what would you say on New Japan Pro Wrestling?
I would say that if you haven't invested the time to look into it, definitely do so. Um, over in Japan, it is a very different system entirely versus like over here we've got the WWE, we've got Ring of Honor, New Japan, or not New Japan, but like now we've got AEW, we've had Impact, TNA, whatever you want to call it, and there's a stark difference in like when you're watching that. They put more emphasis, like their tag teams seem like legit members of the roster, not just kind of like enhancements to kind of drive the show. Like they've got full tournaments that they do like throughout the year, like pay-per-views solely focused on tag team wrestling. The like title pictures over there, it actually feels like their titles mean something because you don't it feels very much like the old like NWA days here, where you'll hear someone's been the champion for 5-6 years, and like over there you get a lot of that. I mean, Okada's been the world heavyweight champion, but the IWGP champion pretty much since it became a thing, and he's a phenomenal wrestler. And yeah, I don't know who the current champion is right now offhand, but like over there the stories are better. I guess we lost you. But yeah, stories are better. It feels more real is the best way to put it. Like New Japan feels real.
Sorry, I closed myself out. I'm gonna get closer to the Wi-Fi so I'm not cutting in and out so easy.
Like basically what I said was like New Japan just feels real. It like just the way that they present it. On top of that, the strong style of Japan, where those guys are legitimately like hitting the dog crap out of each other. It's it's insane. I mean, you look at guys like Finn Balor in the WWE, Shinsuke Nakamura, even like AJ Styles from his time in Bullet Club. Same with like some of the like the work that like Gallows and Anderson were trying to put in, but were just quickly kind of left in the dirt. Like a lot of the guys that put in time over in New Japan that have come to like WWE or Ring of Honor and like Impact are phenomenal stars. Like it's harder to make it over there than it is here. For sure.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. Just given the styles and given the what they have to go through over there. I've done a little bit of research and stuff like that, like you just said, and I love that style of wrestling. It's just I got to get more familiar with it, not just today, but back then as well.
Like like one of the things that I really enjoy over there is like series matches. Like you had the like for WWF, WWE, they had the like 3 WrestleManias with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. But how many times did they wrestle each other in between those matches kind of takes it away from the like uniqueness. You can only see these guys put on the same match so many times. But like over there, you had the amazing trilogy of Okada versus Kenny Omega, and those were the only 3 matches that those guys did, and they are bar none like the top 2 wrestling matches that I would. And that's like the most marked thing to say, but it's the truth. It is. Those matches are good wrestling.
See what really drew, I don't want to say drew me in, but what really solidified me becoming a newer fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling was the Jericho Omega matches from Wrestle Kingdom. And that's what really piqued my. I mean, I've watched New Japan Pro Wrestling before, but that's what really solidified my interest in watching it on a regular basis.
See, I wasn't that big a fan of Omega and Jericho. Like, I love Jericho's work, but I feel like he's kind of losing his touch. Like, especially some of the stuff he's doing in AEW right now. I just feel like he's well past his prime, and he's just kind of getting by on his name, like his name.
Yeah, as I touched upon that a little bit earlier. As a character, to me, Jericho keeps reinventing himself, and he's one of the goats as far as character wise because he keeps reinventing himself. But I do agree to it in the sense that in the ring wise, he's getting kind of slow and stale, but character wise, he's not missing the mark.
Like his in-ring work, like he's older, so obviously he can't do a lot of the stuff. Like the lion salt's not something that he can just do at will anymore.
No way.
He's definitely slower in his movements now, and he's kind of moving away from the I would say like almost like a lucha brawler kind of like mixed style into more of a just almost like a brawler, but the characters that are like really cowardly almost. And I mean, it's great character work, but it's just not giving enough to really be able to invest in anymore.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'll be right back. I gotta close out and come back in real quick. Okay, I'm back. I got more closer to the Wi-Fi.
I'll say my Wi-Fi is trash.
Yeah, Cox.
Not to run it.
This video is not sponsored by Cox Cable.
Or no Spectrum or Bright House or whatever I've got going on here.
Oh, Bright House. Yeah, that's even worse. Switching subjects. What is your thoughts on the supposed, and I use quotations, war between AEW and NXT.
My thoughts on it's kind of I feel that NXT has the better stories and they have talent. The talent isn't being allowed to showcase themselves properly versus AEW, which I really hate that like all the jokes about how AEW is just going to become WCW 2.0, how uncomfortably accurate that's becoming. But AEW has like they're allowing their talent to really showcase themselves without the like barriers and being told what they can and can't do. They're actually able to showcase their like individual styles, and that I like AEW for that because AEW is definitely the show for wrestling for like what it is. But I do feel that they're still trying to get their feet on the ground. They're still trying to get moving, and they are going up against in the Wednesday slot against WWE's developmental thing, which has phenomenal ace talent that are just being underutilized. So I say give AEW about 2 more years and then come ask for them because I do like what is going on there, but they're having a really hard time creating.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I kind of fall in line with that same assessment too. I like AEW. They have a lot of quality wrestling. But right now, to me, NXT is, and this is no slight towards AEW because they're still a young company and needing to get their feet underneath them, so to speak. But NXT is more fluent right now in all aspects. I think AEW can get there, and they're working on getting there. But to me, they're kind of focusing on trying to be where they're currently not, if that makes sense. And if they quit focusing on that and focusing on developing stars instead of bringing in talent, not that there's anything wrong with that. Don't get me wrong on that, but uh, bring the ones that are there that are relatively unknown and make them known. And I'll take MJF for instance. He's one of their top guys, and he came from virtually an unknown, and they have turned him into a known. If they can continue to do stuff like that, then they're on a good step forward.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like as far as like the history of AEW, like I do feel that Jericho was the better option between him and Hangman as far as like for the first champion.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Now don't get me wrong, Hangman is an extremely underrated like work. He
Oh
really,
yeah, definitely. He just wasn't the right choice.
yeah. I mean, or at least at that time. Now, right now, I
Yeah,
would
I'd give it to him.
like. I mean, I love the work that he's doing with like Omega, and it just again, as far as like with the history of it, I feel, and especially with like AEW bringing in like the WWE guys, putting Brody Lee, the former Luke Harper, as the leader of the Dark Order, I feel was a missed opportunity to really allow like Matt Hardy, per se, for because that's right, and especially with what he's doing with the like multiverse art he's got, like, the Dark Order would be perfect for him.
Oh, definitely.
But they've got him being this like it's hard to kind of keep up with him with what he's doing. Um, I do like that. Like one of the big things that they made sure to do was like make it so that Cody can never go for like the AEW championship. I do appreciate that And again, like the members of the elite, Young Bucks, Kenny, Hangman, like if you look at their records versus like everyone else on the roster, they are they don't write themselves into winning a lot, which a lot of like bookers, promoters have a hand, whether it be like their son or they themselves are running the promotion, tend to favor themselves above people. And AEW is doing really good about not doing it. And I do appreciate that. However, I do feel that right now they are very much making the same mistakes that WCW did with Ted Turner's money, but with Tony Khan's money. And they're trying to throw their money around to get as many people as they can instead of trying to, like you said, build up guys like MJF, Orange Cassidy, Joey Janela, Darby Allin. Like these are, legends and literal legends in the indie scene that are finally getting a chance to showcase themselves in front of a worldwide audience to be able to be seen like that. And those guys, I'm afraid, are going to quickly get lost in the like shuffle of them trying to bring in larger names to try and see legit.
Oh yeah, definitely, no doubt. To me, I touched upon this earlier. Um, to me, AEW far surpasses, and I'm not talking about like New Japan, but I'm talking about as far as low American United States mainstream wrestling. To me, AEW is far superior in the tag team division, but WWE NXT is far superior in the women's division. So they each got their niche. To me, everything else, to me, it's kind of a wash because the mid card, to me, the mid card and the main event scene, there it's a wash. They're all great, and they all have the key cogs in it, and they know how to do the stories. But in those two aspects, AEW is better in the tag, and WWE is better in the women.
I, I both agree and disagree with that because like I love like Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose is an amazing worker. She has just not been put against anyone that is believable for her
Yeah.
to be. Like when she won the women's championship for AEW, the first one, and she beat who she beat, like the 94-pound, like that just looks, in my opinion, it looked bad. And AEW did
Yeah.
face a lot of backlash for that. Not because it's like, oh, well, Nyla Rose is trans, it's a dude, blah, blah. It's bad because it's like, here's a
It's not
woman,
believable.
it's like, here's a woman who was originally a, who still has similar muscle and like bone structure, throwing around a 94-pound girl. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just that's not a positive image for the trans community. If it had been someone like, Leva Bates, Britt Baker, like almost anybody else, I'd
Should
have
have been
bought
Kong. Awesome Kong.
that call. But again, like it was, it just, it was a bad look for AEW. And I think they quickly tried to correct that. But it was one of those, the damage, in my opinion, had been done. And it's going to be really, really hard. Like Nyla is now struggling in AEW to try
Yeah.
and some kind of a footing. And it's not even because, like people say, oh, well, wrestling fans are extremely conservative. Realistically, most wrestling fans are really liberal with like
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to try and tell us that, I mean, we enjoyed China back in the day, Beth Phoenix. It's not a problem with, masculine women. It's just the image of what that was. And Nyla's kind of suffered for that. What they really need to do at this point is probably book Nyla and a couple, put Nyla against like Sunny Kiss. I feel like they could be like, that could be an amazing match.
Yeah,
And,
I believe so.
like either way, that would come out as a positive LGBT kind of you know like that would be a positive look because that's two very competitive people that can work with each other. Put again, like you said, put like Kong against, which I mean, even going back to Sonny Kiss, just match that Sonny Kiss had with Cody, like
That was awesome.
phenomenal. Like I'm kind of disappointed that I had never heard of Sonny Kiss before AEW, and I've gone back and watched a lot of Sonny's matches, and
Mm-hmm.
I
He's extremely
admit,
talented.
yeah, and if you're gonna people want to talk about, oh well, it's a gay person or a trans person, like people were cheering for Rita in the early 2000s. Like Billy Gunn and Chuck Palumbo had whatever you want to call that going on in the early 2000s.
You.
I mean, there have been all kinds of like androgynous, homosexual, Orlando Jordan failed in
Storylines.
like as a bisexual wrestler, where Velveteen Dream has perfected the like androgynous kind of character. And
Hey, you had Goldust. You had Goldust.
yeah, but I feel like that was one of those hit the ground running, figure it out as they went kind of things.
Yeah, I got that. That makes a lot of sense.
It's like, but at the same time, how are you going to give the only Rhodes without a lisp a sexually androgynous character?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
But I mean, and even Dustin, like right now, like his work in AEW, like stuff that he was doing in WWE towards the end of his run there, I was sure he was done. And seeing him in AEW, he's got plenty in the tank left.
Yeah, plenty left in the tank.
I think my house is haunted.
Huh?
I think my house is haunted.
Boo. Hey, I like haunted
Like,
stuff, so it's all good.
there was a sock on the floor that just kind of slid across the floor by itself. So
Nice. I've actually had lamps turned on, and I was nowhere near it, so it's all good. But uh, there's one subject I wanted to touch on, but I brain farted it. We'll bring that one up on the next show. Um, so you were saying earlier that you feel you got a lot left in the tank. Uh, what kind of style, if you were to get back in and get going again, would you stay at your old style, or would you evolve and do a different style?
my original style was I was more likely to hurt myself than my opponent was. Like I did more like death matchy, like backyard wrestling, garbage wrestling, whatever you want to call it. I did a lot of like I was the guy where if I got the opportunity and the promotion would allow me to do so, I'd get on top of a ladder in the ring and do like a swanton bomb outside of the ring and miss because I wanted to do the spot.
Nice.
Like I was all about the entertainment. I just, I wanted people to walk away from my matches just being in awe of just over the top, like, um, I never really was a fan of getting like, bleeding much unless it required it. Like I was really good with death matches because I guess I just have a destructive mind. So whenever we would be setting up the spot, you know, They just whack me with every fluorescent tube you can, and just mess me up, dude.
I'll be
Like,
I'll be right back. It's my Wi-Fi.
woo, Wi-Fi.
Okay, I'm back.
Wait,
Stupid Wi-Fi. I'm gonna get a Cat 3 cord. I thought I was grabbing. Like I said, I thought I was grabbing the right cord, but I'm gonna grab a Cat 3 cord rather than a 4. I mean a 5.
I don't know, man. I might have one around here.
It's all good though. Like I said, live and let learn. Got to start somewhere.
But as far as like evolving, I think I would want to. I don't think I'd want to be as stupid with it as I was. Like I said, I feel like I've probably got I've got to get like 5 years left, and if I'm smart with it, probably stretch that out a little bit more. Um, I just I just really miss being in the ring. I miss being able to enjoy myself, be able to enjoy the response from the audience. And now that my daughter's old enough to be able to actually enjoy it, and you know has like more of an interest than I was expecting her to have. Um, I kind of, it's sort of the whole thing, like with the Ultimate Warrior, he wanted his kids to see him perform. He called it quits, and so he had like one match on an indie show where his kids watched him, and unfortunately he passed away before he could do anything with WWE. But I'm 29 years old. I don't want to think that I'm done before I'm 35, especially without any like major injuries.
Exactly. Like I said, when I met you and talked with you at the APW show Saturday, I could actually feel that passion exude from you, and I can see it in your eyes that there is something left in the tank, and uh, I support you 100%, brother, and I'm gonna see what I can do to help
So I appreciate
get
that.
back in the groove.
Like, I mean, I definitely, like I said, I've done my last match was in 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. Like I mean, I've gone to a couple of shows. Like if a friend of mine is like, if there's one like quick heat spot or something, I can do the planted fan. I can still bump. I can still do stuff like that. But I would definitely have to knock some stuff in the joints. And definitely put in the work to get myself back in shape. I'm got a bit of a gut now from
Food. I like food too.
life. I would say enjoying life, and up until recently, I did have a significant other that was a rather
Yeah,
good cook. She did take care of
fatten you up so you won't go
me. I
nowhere.
mean, yeah, I kind of regret that now because now I'm all blubber and
It's like that Snickers commercial.
but
Instant regret.
I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like I don't know if you can actually see the video, but like right down here is like almost 20 years of wrestling DVDs and stuff. And I have been both a fan and a student for as long as I've been one. I just, it's
There we go again. I'll be right back.
kind of the
Hold on.
come on, man, get together. Come on, man.
There we go. I hate this Wi-Fi. It is what it is. At least I've learned the warning when it goes to crap on my side. When
Maybe.
the guest, whoever the guest is, starts to like, it sounds like they're fixing to like it's on my end.
I'm just saying, man, get yourself together. Come on, man.
Oh yeah.
But I'm thankful I don't have a bunch of my forehead doesn't look too messed up, all the blading and stuff. But I mean,
Five
like,
in.
I've got scars, man. Like just doing barbed wire and like just.
I got one like in here, not from barbed wire, but from walking into a garage door at work when I worked at the mill. But it it was funny. I don't know if you can tell. I can't tell on the camera, but it's like right there where I'm rubbing my forehead.
I mean, like I've got a couple. You know, when I do this, some of my wrinkles are definitely
It's all good.
doing dumb things back. I see like a little bit like through in there.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes, since it seems both of our connections are starting to crap, you got any final words? And what I was thinking, if you want next podcast we do, because I believe this is going to be the first one of many to come. Meet up somewhere where there's some decent connection, and then we'll go more in depth.
final words. Final words. Just you know, if anyone's watching this and they want to get into the business, you know, reach out to don't be afraid. Go to a show and you know talk to people. Like, you know, just sometimes you just gotta get to know the right person, and you know if they just need someone to help them train and you know work, then they can. I mean, by no means like don't just approach them. You see them at the store or something.
Yeah, obviously that's stalking.
But yeah, like you know, just however, don't be like the like creepy super fans. Like, oh my god! Like I mean, we're people.
Yeah, with them eyes wide open type stuff.
But no, yeah, I mean, you know, just follow your dreams for real. Like if it's something you want to do, even if someone tells you not to do it, you know, go find somebody else that might be able to work with you and get yourself to where you can.
Exactly.
Don't take no for an answer.
Yeah, don't ever give up on your dream, because there might be a yes after a bunch of no's.
I mean, unless you're just, you know.
Bad.
But yeah, thank you for having me on and letting me
Thank you
talk
for
a little.
coming on. Thank you for coming on, bro. And like I said, this is going. I have a feeling this is going to be the first of many between us, and I believe in the near future, after a few more and few more, you'll actually be a talent somewhere. I just have that feeling about you. So, like you said, keep your dream alive, and like I said, our next one, let's try to do it in person. That way, we can not have this connectivity issues, and maybe next time I'll have the right stuff.
I mean, I'm down, man. Like I said.
Awesome, guys. Well, everybody, thank you for joining in. This is my good buddy Will Nero 13 Davis, and we got a lot more in common than we originally thought, and we both have one thing that's in common besides all that, and that is our love for professional wrestling. And I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube, and let's get it out there. Let's get it shared out there, and yeah, let's get your name out there, bro.
Thank you.
You're welcome, brother. Have a good night, people. I will be posting this on YouTube in a little while. It's a long process, so it'll probably be up tomorrow sometime. So good night, people, And like I said, Mike Britt, you are the winner of the Vladimir Koloff drawing. I'll message you and get with you and see where to send it to. Have a good night, peeps. Talk to you later, Will, bro. And this is going to be an awesome future.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Bye.